Happy New Year, everyone. Today is January 3rd, and this is my second episode of this car therapy series. Clearly, I am not in a car, and I am also not working today. I don't start work until tomorrow, so I'm currently on the last day of my vacation. It is also very, very cold outside in Pennsylvania, hence the sitting at home instead of being in the car. I'm shooting this in a bathroom with really poor lighting and very questionable choice for for the walls. But this is what I'm working with today, so we're just gonna go ahead and do it. And this is not really a feelings or anything post because I haven't done much today that I need to evaluate or discuss. I am doing this because I had promised myself that I will try to shoot one of these record one of these every day this year. Anyway, to recap, I shot the first of these videos on December 26th. And essentially, I was talking about how I have slowly come to realize over the course of 2025 that I have not been treating myself very well. I have been basically putting expectations on myself that were just very unreachable for somebody with my personality and my lifestyle. And I have always felt like I was sort of in a glass box, being watched, being evaluated. Not necessarily because anybody was evaluating me, but really because I was evaluating myself quite harshly, and I was assuming that other people were doing the same. The gist of it is that I am trying to take myself a lot less seriously this year. I am trying to work on a lot of anxiety, trying to diminish a lot of that. And I started this morning exactly like that. So I woke up this morning at a very godly hour at like 8 o'clock or something. And my plan was I was going to do a little bit of studying, go to the gym, just kind of relax with my husband, plan for basically the new year. We're going to do a little like beginning of the year, meeting for discussing our finances, discussing our plans, discussing like what we want our year to look like. But from 8:30 to about 10:30 when I was trying to study, I began to have this like just really bad panicky feeling. I think it's because I've been off work for a little while. I've had a chance to like breathe a little bit. I start night float tomorrow, so I start night shift tomorrow. And night shift is great. I used to work night shift when I got out of undergrad. So before I ever went to med school, I worked as a laboratory technologist in the blood bank for 6 years. And for the majority of that time, up until the last year when it was COVID, I basically did night shift work. So I am no stranger to night shift. I actually prefer them. I think they're better. It's just they mess up, like your circadian rhythms. Rhythms. It's really hard for you to align things like my schedule with my husband right now, who is basically a day shifter. We have to talk about that a lot. But more importantly, we have an exam, the in-service training exam that all residents do in various specialties. And I think for most people, it's usually at the end of January to the beginning of February. Mine is scheduled for a couple of days into February. And I've never felt scared about the exam. I don't like standardized tests. I've never been fond of them. I've always just like struggled to get past them. I've been very fortunate going through medical school, going through all of that I haven't really failed any exams. They've just always been really challenging to study for, to prepare for. I always felt like I was lacking. And I'm getting to the point where I'm realizing now that I have 30 days before the exam, and my mind is like, what have we really been doing for the last 6 months? I have been doing some stuff. Like, I've not gone through 6 months of residency and just like folded my arms and done nothing. I've been doing some studying, but I don't know if I have been doing enough. And so this morning, it just, somewhere in the recesses of my brain, I just started to get really overwhelmed. It started to feel like, if you listen to my last video, where I always feel like there's not enough oxygen in the room, I started having this like panicky feeling, like my nerves were tingly. I just felt really not okay. So I pushed through what I was doing because I really wanted to like achieve something today in terms of studying. So I pushed through the little bit of reading that I was doing. And then I made a really short Instagram post about just being stressed out. It was me just eating some okra soup, because if you've never had okra soup, you really should have some. It is excellent, especially when it's made with like all the ingredients. I had soup with like snails and fish and meat and shrimp, and it was warm, and to me is the equivalent of like chicken soup. It was really good. I felt better. The feeling really didn't go away. Usually when this happens to me, and it happens every now and then, I try to change what I'm doing. I try to go do other things. So I asked my husband if he was okay for us to have like our New Year's discussion at that time. So we sat down, we got our computers out, we, had our PowerPoint ready, and then we started talking about things. What was 2025 like for us? What are we looking forward to for this year? We had a couple of goals for last year that were really like out of our control. They were more like hopes than goals, which we sadly did not achieve last year. We're hoping that happens this year. We had a lot of blessings, especially in our family, all the babies that came along, all the people that graduated, all the people that got like better jobs, my husband included, the fact that I even got a residency position, it was a big deal. So we talked a little bit about what we want to see in our marriage, given that this is the first year since my husband and I started dating that we are living in the same house. It's the first time since we started dating that we are in such close proximity to one another that we can plan the different things that we planned this month, this year. And it was a really good conversation. It was a very long conversation, because I think between the two of us, we have to do a lot of processing. We have to do a lot of like, breaking things down, and our meeting isn't done yet. We still have quite a few more questions we would like answered. It's just a nice time to sit down and just like discuss with my spouse like what we want to see for our marriage, for our lives, like different things that we agree on, different things that we disagree on, and like where we can meet in the middle. What that did for me actually was that it distracted me from what I was feeling before, which was a lot of like, oh my God, what if I don't pass this exam? What if I go back to work and just like, for some reason, completely forgot everything that I learned in the last 6 months, which are irrational fears. And I know that. And I think one of the things I'm grateful for my husband for is that when these things happen, there's always a conversation about like, how can I help? What do I need? At the time that it was happening, what I wanted was just a hug. I was like, I just need you to give me a hug. Maybe it'll pass. Maybe it won't. Didn't quite pass at the time. I said, just like, let me have some space. And I lay down on the floor and I like breathe in and out and stuff like that. But when we were having the conversation, just the breaking down of things, as in like, okay, so what are our goals? How do we want to spread them out? What do we want to take on from January to February and things like that? I think that really helped out. By the time we were done with the conversation, the feeling had passed. Everything was done. We went out, we had grocery shopping, and then we went to the gym and basically went home. I feel a lot better, especially about going back to work. I feel a lot better. I was never really unprepared for work. It's just sometimes the thought of returning to all of these things, the thought of like, having to make small, large, whatever decisions where, patients are involved, things like that. And the thought of being evaluated while I'm doing all of those things sometimes gets to be a little bit overwhelming, but I think I'm good. I think we had a good conversation. I think I'm ready to go back and get back into the job. I'm excited about just resting. I'm excited about like just checking out what January is going to look like, because since I'm working night shift, I have to switch my gym schedule. I have to switch like everything that I'm doing right now. I have to flip it on its head. So I'm excited to see what it's going to look like and how life as a resident is going to look like after 6 months of residency. We also have our first official evaluation by the program in a few days at the beginning of this month. So I am also excited, or looking forward to, with some level of consternation, to see what the program thinks of me, and like how I've been doing, or what they think how I've been doing, and what they think in terms of improvement, feedback, things that I can do better, places that I can keep working. So I am excited now that the feeling of like the world is coming to an end has passed. I am excited to go back, keep doing the thing that I love doing, that I enjoy doing, that I worked to get to. I'm also just excited to see what this year is going to look like for me. I think my decision this year really is to take myself less seriously. Like the words that people used to describe me are like intense and, you know, very serious. I am all of those things. It's kind of sad. I also have, like, if you look at me, I have resting thundercloud face. I can't really help it. I'm not a big smiler. But I think I am going to intentionally be a goof off this year. Not with my job, not with anything, but like I want to try to purposefully be lighthearted. I think if I can do that from within to outside, I think it will really make a big impact on like relationships that I'm forming and people that I'm interacting with. So I'm excited to see how I can cross over that hurdle for myself. If you've gotten all the way here, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. And tomorrow I will be heading to work. So we'll see how that works out. And then starting Monday, there will be actual breakdowns of what night shift looks like. Some days is monotonous, some days is really exciting, and just how I'm carrying on with all of these things. Happy New Year. I hope everyone has a plan for this year, or no plan for the year. I hope that whatever it is that you set out to do, you are blessed with, if you are a believer, or I hope that you put your heart and soul into it if you are not. Thank you all for listening, and see you tomorrow.